Hey guys, welcome to another GamePlug feature and the first part of our series looking at immersion in games. Today's video is all about morality, the actions that make you think and take responsibility for the game world. Because games are an interactive medium, they can confront players with situations that challenge their perceptions of right and wrong, and the desire to act in-game the same way you would in real life creates a sense of identification between the player and their character. By accommodating the player's real-life perception of good and bad, morality systems create the strong sense that the player is actually a part of the game world. No other media form can create this kind of shared personality between the audience and the characters. Books and movies can elicit moral reactions from audiences, but these reactions don't have an impact on the narrative. They can make audiences consider their own moral code, but they don't let audiences exercise this code. Meanwhile, moral engagement in games makes players feel responsible for the consequences of their actions, producing feelings of pleasure or guilt on a very personal level. But not all morality systems are created equal. A lot of games use moral axis frameworks, which represent conflicts as multiple choice quizzes between A. Be a selfless hero, or B. Kick a puppy. Instead of challenging the player's notions of morality, this kind of system awards players a moral score that has as little impact on their life as a top score does. No, I know you want to beat your friends at Mario Kart, but it's not going to change your life, is it? Think of BioWare's games. Mass Effect characterizes your actions as either Paragon or Renegade. By pigeonholing players into taking the good or evil option, moral axis frameworks reduce conflicts into tests to see how well players understand the game mechanics and what the developers consider good and bad. For games to make the most of their unique storytelling methods, they need to externalize moral dilemmas by challenging the player's own sense of right and wrong. Externalized morality happens when players have to apply their own values of right and wrong to a problem in order to solve it. Specifically, these kind of problems are called wicked problems. They're conflicts with no obvious answer and they can't be solved by regular video game logic. They're more ambiguous than Mass Effect's multiple choice tests, so players actually need to put real thought into the situation. Take a look at The Witcher. The first game faces players with the wicked problem of deciding whether or not they're going to hand over some supply crates to a group of Scoia'tael. The elves appeal to the player's morality by saying that they need the food in the crates to survive. Where Mass Effect would tell you that handing the crates over is the good option, The Witcher leaves it up to your judgment. It seems like a pretty low-key choice, but its consequences are actually pretty dire. Either you refuse to give up the crates and the elves attack you, so you have to kill all of them, or you hand the crates over and later realise that they were actually filled with weapons that the elves used to murder innocent civilians.
Geralt, greetings.
What happened?
A show of force. They smashed a window and packed 3 bolts in Coleman's gut. Used dispersive bolt heads. A Havkar speciality. And highly illegal.
Who killed him?
Damn Scoia'tael.
Fragmenting tip. Enters the stomach as 1, exits the back as 3, mincing the internal organs. Hawker's specialty.
What's that? You wanted to be nice and help people? Well, good job, arsehole. You just enabled an act of terrorism. And because The Witcher doesn't signpost the fact that handing over the crates will lead to a massacre, responsibility for the outcome lands directly with the player. It's all on you. The Witcher 3 makes this responsibility even more personal. Your opinion on right and wrong actually has a major impact on Ciri's future. Ciri goes through some serious shit in this game, and if you recognise when she's hurting and put in the effort to make her feel better, she comes out of it a much happier and healthier person. If you don't understand the right and wrong way to help her, or if you just don't care about her, you monster, be prepared for a depressing ending that's all your fault.
It always works.
Hey! You'll regret that.
Okay, so I've been pretty harsh to games with moral axis frameworks, but the truth is, they're not all bad. Even though Mass Effect is guilty of a lot of the things I've been criticising, it also has moments of huge emotional impact and moral engagement. Rannick, I'm looking at you. When a 100-year war comes to a head, do you side with the Quarians because it's their home planet and Tali is your shepherd's bestie? Or do you save the Geth from being wiped out without warning? It's a soul-crushing moment in the trilogy, and you're gonna cry no matter what you choose.
Talisora. Does this unit have?
Yes. Yes, it does.
There are a few more decisions like this in the trilogy, and they come about when the moral axis frameworks are lifted and your choices feel like they come from you and not from a system. The game doesn't tell you whether you should save Tali or Legion. It's all up to you and your evaluation of the situation. And it's brutal. But it makes the player feel a lot more connected to the game and its characters, and the fact I had to reshoot this bit because I was tearing up proves that it has the emotional impact that moral choices in games should. But ultimately, moral axis frameworks are poor representations of morality and are just bad at immersing the player. Sure, you can feel connected to a renegade choice, but it's never going to come from you. More and more games are adopting externalized morality, and this trend is bringing us gaming experiences that challenge our perceptions of right and wrong. Dragon Age Inquisition got in on this when it represented your responses to a moral conflict as emotional reactions instead of statements of good and evil. The Inquisitor isn't evil if they yell at someone, that situation is just making them mad. And just because they yell at one person doesn't mean everyone else will judge them for it. It'll just affect how that one NPC feels towards them. Inquisition's 7 emotional responses don't pigeonhole your character's morality score. They let players interact with NPCs and work through conflicts fluidly and realistically. Hopefully BioWare stick with this system, because it's a way for designers to strictly regulate moral conflicts without robbing players of control.
Should I curse you on behalf of the Elder One? I realize he had no intention of honoring the concordats I manipulated. Do as you must. I respect your mastery of the game, even as I despise your victory. Celine does not know her fortune.
Like most nobility, she's never walked in the shoes of those she endangered. Lady Florian, I give you a chance. Common work, farm work, do some good. Lady Florian, I've no use for the failed lieutenants of the enemy. I impose exile, shove her in a tower somewhere. She has caused no end of misery. It's time she brought some joy. Grand Duchess Florian de Chalon, jester to the Inquisition, in flat shoes.
When it comes down to it, no video game lets players totally control their characters' actions, but games that externalize moral conflicts do a better job of tricking players into believing they're the ones in control. When games tell you which actions they consider good and bad, they're wasting the full storytelling abilities of the interactive medium. But when conflicts are more ambiguous, the game world starts to appear a lot more like real life. Externalized morality allows players to shape the game world with their own sense of right and wrong, and when players are held accountable for their actions, it forms an irreversible bond with the game world and its characters.